How do we find off-market deals, or what's the best strategy to use PropStream to find off-market deals?
Okay, well, this is a really good question. Kind of a loaded one, but I have some best practices that can help you with that. And so let me pull up this quick PowerPoint here I had prepped. If you were to ask me that question, I would say, well, there's two ways to approach this. One is the traditional method. And what I mean by that is it all starts with a list, right? It's just like in the past, before software, before PropStream, we would go to the county, we would grab that pre-foreclosure list, grab that high equity list, whatever list they had to provide. And then that's what we would work off once we got back to the office. Now, once we did get back in the office, some of the key things that we would look for is it off market, right? Thankfully, that's a filter that we have. And then you also mentioned, is there equity on the property? Now, equity, I leave it up to the user because I don't know what you know, right? If you know subject to, you probably don't need equity. If you do short sales, don't need equity. But if you're a fix and flipper, a wholesaler, you're gonna need equity, right? So equity is important. We notice that that becomes a popular filter. And then the property and owner type is last because again, with so much data that PropStream houses, if you don't tell us the type of property, you might end up marketing to a church or a school. If you don't need that, save yourself the marketing money, narrow it down. Same with the owner characteristics. We have LLCs, we have trusts, we have individual owners. So let us know what you need. So if you were to have that traditional mindset approach, then your search would look like this. You go to Birmingham, Alabama, and then you would go after a category, for example, maybe a tired landlord. 15 years, non-owner occupied is what this category represents. But again, that's just the list. So that's step one. Step two is we got to now decide whether on or off market. So MLS section here, that's the first filter. Do you want it on market? Yes. Or in this case, no, I don't want it on market. And to do you a favor, those that are listening, we added an additional status called never listed because it could be off market today, but it could have been listed last week and the owner still wants the price that it failed at. And I don't want to deal with that. So how about we look for tired landlords that are off market but have never been listed so I don't have to worry about someone who's talked to an agent. See, we think really in depth with that, but that's still step two, off market, just with a little cherry on top. Step three is equity. I don't know what you know, but let's say I'm a fix and flipper right now. I need equity. And so estimated equity percentage is a filter of ours, and we can put negative numbers, we could put 10%, or in this case, if I'm a wholesaler, 60% or more, the higher the better. And last but certainly not least, step four, we got to now narrow down the noise, and that's the property details and the owner information. So when it comes to property details, I don't want it all. I don't want commercial. I don't want vacant land. I just want residential single family properties because I'm going to put them in my rental portfolio eventually. And then last but not least, the whole reason I'm building this list is because I'm going to market to it and have someone call me back. So I get to control who calls me back. And how do I do that? Just by telling PropStream what type of owner I want to market to. So PropStream, just show me the individual owners. So when I send this list of 7,900 properties a postcard, then 7,900 individuals read that postcard and hopefully half of them call me back. And these are individuals, not LLCs. And I don't need to worry about setting up a schedule and talking to the owner of the owner of the owner. No. So the four steps when you're building your first list with PropStream, or if you've already done this, again, that's a traditional search. Pick a list, make sure it's off market, has the equity you need, the property and owner type. Anything after this is what we would call list stacking. And some of you are like, well, I want it to also have a lien on the property. Okay, good. Go to the lien section, include that. Now we're down to 68, but that's your preference. So lists, off-market, equity, property and owner type, start there. Anything else, we'll leave that up to you. But as long as you follow those four traditional steps, you're on the right track to building your first list. Then you can save it, export it, or take advantage of some of our other features like skip tracing to get a phone number or an email, as well as our campaign section, which is we can set you up with a website for your list, send those postcards for you, as well as emails for you if you want as well.
That's
But
super awesome. Makes it so much
that's the
easier.
first way I would build a list. The second way is a new way that I think could be a little complex for those that are listening, but I
Well,
don't
let's
mind
try it.
sharing
Okay,
it.
so the first way is the traditional way. Just get a big list, filter it down as best as you can that fits your criteria, and then you direct mail, you phone call them, do the robo dial and texting and all that sort of stuff, which is a fine way to go. But you also have a different way that's outside the traditional
Yeah.
way.
And I think this way is new, and that's why it's kind of it might throw you
Does it
off
have
guard, those that
AI
are listening,
involved?
watching. No, it actually doesn't. This because well, unless you consider yourself the human brain in AI, which I think is far
Perfect.
superior. But this situation I call this method building situations, and you kind of nailed it a little bit earlier when you mentioned interest rates, and I'll kind of show you what I mean by that. But if you're going to be building situations, your own situations and proption, which I encourage you to practice, there are some few steps that you still need to follow, and here are those steps. Okay, obviously make sure it's off market. Still apply the equity you need so you can perform your exit strategy subject to wholesaling, fixing and flipping, whatever it is. And you still need to apply your property and owner characteristics. Thankfully, I've already done all of that, so I don't really need to reapply that. The only thing I'm going to do right now is remove the list that I selected initially. Okay, so everything has been reduced. Let's also remove the lien. So, all right. So halfway reset. I the filters remaining are the following: off market, the equity I need, the property and owner characteristics. But this is where again I want people to start really like paying attention to. I have a firm belief a lead is not always going to be on a list. And Dustin mentioned it earlier, right? One of the common things I kept hearing over the last 24 months is nobody wants to sell their house because their rates are so low. When the federal rates are at 6%, who wants to sell their house at 2%? I totally agree with you. If I had a 2% mortgage right now, why would I lock in something for 30 years at 6%? Are you insane? If you're marketing to me, I'm going to rip up that postcard or I'm going to mock you on the phone. But there's always two sides to the fence. So while you're complaining about the 2 or 3% or trying to market to the 3 2, you know what I would have done with PropStream? I would have said, hey, that interest rate filter, wait up here. If the federal rates are at 6%, there must be owners at 8% or higher out there. Those are my leads. Hello, Mr. Homeowner. Are you aware that federal rates are at 6%? I noticed that you're at 8%. I could save you a few dollars here or there. Or maybe it's time to sell and lock something at 2% lower. So the 2, 3% owner hates the 6%, but that 8, 9, 10, 11% homeowner, they love the 6%. And you know why? They're not you. They're not real estate professionals that are always paying attention to what the federal rates are at. It's your job to educate these homeowners who are working two jobs that don't realize they could save a few $100s here or there, or sell, take advantage of that equity that we just looked for, and buy their house that they've always been working hard for.
I think it's
That's what I mean by
fantastic. Yeah,
building
you're 100% right.
situations.
Yeah, us as real estate investors, we see that interest rate. In fact, I bought an Airbnb in Tennessee in May of 2024, 8% because it was just the top. It just happened. We were buying it and just happened to be at, but I was really excited. Just a month ago, I refinanced it at a 4.5% 15-year note. It just, the rates dropped all out. But anyways, no matter where you think the rates are, somebody's situation is going to be different than maybe they might like the 2%, or maybe they have an 8%. They got to get out of it. So I think those are.
Absolutely. Here's another one that's near and dear to me because this is the reason my father sold our house, but it had nothing to do with the interest rate. It's the property itself. People forget living in the house becomes a situation. And here's one I can create that if you're a fix and flipper listening, you should definitely go after these. But owner occupied, individually owned properties, 10 years minimum. And the reason they would like to sell, same reason my dad sold the property. 3 bedrooms or more, that indicates a family living in it. But the reason my dad sold the property is because we were tired of sharing one bathroom for 10 years. So if I'm a fix and flipper, show me everyone in Birmingham that's sharing one bathroom for the last 10 years with their family. And just so if I do acquire it, there's some profit to be made. Let's make sure that property has 1,100 square footage minimum. Why? Because when I do acquire that single family property with one bathroom and it has 1,100 square footage, well, what do you think it's the first thing I'm going to put into it? Bathroom, right? So my typing is too quick here, but there we go. So 1,100 square footage. You know what? My typing is way too quick, but you get the idea.
I
I'm
do.
able to create this scenario. And that's what I mean. I'm not going after a list because how many people are going after pre-foreclosures? And I'm not saying you shouldn't go after it. You should go after it, but you shouldn't stop after doing that. You should be looking at these filters in a way where, hey, rather than going after the same list everyone's probably going after, what scenarios can I create? And I just gave you two, high interest rates. And in this case, I'm showing you the 530 families that are sharing one bathroom with their family for the last 10 years. How many of them want to tap into that equity and finally buy one of your three-bedroom, two-bathroom listings that you have? So that's all I'm
Brilliant.
saying. That you have to start thinking of situations because no one just wakes up overnight and they're on a list. You can find those situations way before they show up in any of these categories.
And a special thanks to PropStream for jumping on and walking us through how to find these great deals. You can get a discount from PropStream and get a 7-day free trial if you go to masterpassiveincome.com/PropStream. The link will be in the description. So definitely check it out there. Get the discount. You also even, I think sometimes they even give away $50 extra in your account so that you can even start doing direct mail or doing skip tracing and all that sort of stuff. But you definitely want to use PropStream, get that discount, get the trial and everything. Go to masterpassiveincome.com/PropStream.